Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and the market's pretty flat right now, so I'm not going to waste a lot of time with that, but I did want to go into this. This is interesting right here. So, talk about somebody taking some risks. This Michael Saylor tweeted this out. This is the guy who has been buying Bitcoin. He's the CEO of Microstrategy. Well, it says Microstrategy announces proposed private offering of $600 million of convertible senior notes. And the interesting thing is that in the article, is this quote, MicroStrategy intends to use the net proceeds from the sale of the notes to acquire additional Bitcoins. So they're intending to buy more Bitcoins with their sale. And then XRP Bart sent me this, and I actually was watching this morning, and I saw that. I think he sent me that. I may have gotten some things out of order here, but anyway, I want you to watch this whole video. This is CNBC when Bitcoin crossed 50K. I want you to watch this video because a lot of people out there believe that somehow Bitcoin is immune to some of the regulatory scrutiny and different things. But the truth is, and on this channel we deal in truth. The truth is that the Christine Lagarde, you've heard Janet Yellen, these people, they keep talking about, and I think they're using words for a reason. They're talking about Bitcoin in relation to money laundering and all that. Now, I'm not saying I agree with that. I don't. In fact, I own some Bitcoin. But what I am going to do on this channel is I'm going to tell you the truth about what Bitcoin is. I'm not going to just toe the line of, hey, Bitcoin proof of work's great because the prices are going up and you should buy that. I'm not going to do that here. I'm going to tell you what's wrong with it. I'm going to tell you what's better, what's right, technologically what's better. I'm not going to ignore the elephants in the room of the energy waste, of the fact that it can't scale. I'm not going to ignore that it's expensive. I'm not going to ignore the things that all these Bitcoin maxis that you watch ignore, because that's not the truth. I'm going to present to you, and it's not just me talking. Ripple has said this several times. I'm going to show you what they said. And I'm not doing it for the purpose of poo-pooing Bitcoin. That's not my purpose. It's to let you know. I think that everybody out there that's listening should not just toe the line on these proof of work coins that do not work. Proof of work does not work. That's not my words. That's Ryan Zagone of Ripple's words. I'm going to show you those words. I want you to watch this because these guys, remember who these people are. Remember who these guys on CNBC are. These are the people who are more or less sock puppets for the government. I mean, these are the same people who have towed the freaking line on all this QE garbage for the last 10 plus years and acted like that was normal and that was the right thing to do because they're just doing what they're told. So I want you to watch this because it's not a coincidence that they're talking about $50,000 and then they're floating out there the idea that the government might have a problem with this and come in and crack down, because we've seen the hints. We've seen it from Lagarde, Janet Yellen, and several others. There's going to be regulations. I believe they're going to let Bitcoin survive. But anybody who thinks that Bitcoin is just this thing that can't be controlled, you need to wake up. Watch what they say here.
It broke through the $50,000 level just a short time ago. It's now up more than 70% since January 1st. So it's come off a little bit right under that 50,000 mark, but pretty extraordinary run, no matter how you look at it. Joe?
I just wish I wish we knew all. I wish we could see into the future, Andrew, because all you need to do, you take the total global financial system, right? Yep. Figure out what that is, and then divide it by 21 million. Well, first take the total financial system and decide what percentage of that could someday be crypto related, or right, where crypto could be
Bitcoin
play
related.
A role,
right?
Or Bitcoin related. Then divide that by 21 million, and that's where you get some scary numbers. And I don't know if they're legit or but at the same time, you worry about individual countries and governments, that have a huge vested interest. For example, the United States and the dollar remaining the reserve currency. So what do when it becomes clear, or if it starts to look like you're not having control, which maybe it's already starting to look like that.
Exactly.
What do? They can do whatever they want, can't they? Or can they?
What's the number
And
at which
will.
it gets out of control? And is it the number, the price of Bitcoin, which is out of control, or is it the distribution of Bitcoin, meaning it's still held in only a few hands,
ding,
on a
ding,
relative
ding,
basis to the country? And so that's, to me, what you should be looking for, because you can buy half a Bitcoin, you could buy a tenth of a Bitcoin. And what if it really, to me, escape velocity is not necessarily the price itself, but just how many holders there are.
Right. Well, a lot of people, I've seen some crazy stuff where people write in that it's not a fixed number. It's not 21 million, that because you can divide each one into, and that's where you go, okay, you just need to go back to, elementary school level math, because I'm not even going to have a conversation, because there are 21 million, whether you split them up or not, it's 21 million. Right. So I don't, it's fixed. And if it has inherent value, then you can make a case. What Novogratz say, 100,000. Other people, I think the Winklevi have said a half a million. If you do math,
I've heard
like
half
that,
a million. I've heard a million. I've heard 200,000.
Yeah, million. Right.
The other question is,
Right.
once it gets to those levels, do a lot of people sell out of it? I mean, you're hearing, are people ever really going to use it, not as a currency, but at some point you say, okay, it's made the run, and then does it just level out at this sort of, at some price or not?
Right.
It's hard to know.
Right. If you call it something like the Internet of Money, or you saw Paul Tudor Jones say it's like Apple in the top of the first inning, or Amazon in the top of the first inning, I don't know. But I don't know. We'll see. A few of this morning, it gives us something to look forward to. A few of this morning's top.
Okay. Now, one of the things that I just think is hilarious is that a lot of people in this space, they believe that that as Bitcoin goes, so goes the market. Yes, it's been that way. It's not going to be that way. You're going to see a great decoupling, and you may have started to see some of it right now. But in the end game, none of us are going to be served well to go with a technology that does, let me say this so you really understand, does not work. Proof of work does not work. And all of the Bitcoin maxis know it. Period. Okay, so here we go. Let me show you more about it. This is something, part of the reason I want to do this is because there's a lot of people coming into this space. And if you're not telling them the truth about these things, it's just as bad as lying, because if you're not telling them the things about proof of work that make it where it cannot go into the future and be used for the payment system or the monetary system, then it's not right. Okay, so this guy lays it out here. This is a tweet from 2019. Brad Garlinghouse this is from Brad Garlinghouse, not from me. And he's talking in reference to how Bitcoin worked with regulators from the very beginning. Governments are going to bring out their tanks before they give up their control of the money supply. Okay? He said that. Governments control their military. This is their baseline control of power. Sovereign fiat second only to military power. To believe that Bitcoin or any other non-sovereign currency will somehow overtake national fiats is pure naivety. Furthermore, to think a non-scalable crypto will do so compounds your naivety if you believe it. Enter XRP. It is the in-between. I like that. The in-between coin, in between borders and fiats. It is the coin without a nation. It is open source, owned by the global public, absolutely scalable, environmentally friendly, unlimited potential use cases, fully settled in under 4 seconds. This is what you call truth, folks. This is the truth. This is what the Michael Saylors of the world, the Mike Novogratz of the world, the freaking all the Bitcoin maxis, they will not tell you this line right there. They will not tell you that. And that is the truth. Fact. Okay? Moving forward. This is Ryan Zagone of Ripple on stage with this guy who's a Bitcoin maxi, I think. Listen to what he says.
You might still use proof of work.
Great. But invite Ryan and Desiree, I don't know if you would like to comment on this as well. Ryan.
And by the way, that's a guy, that's Ron, Leleco guy from the Deputy Counsel for the IMF at the time, who's asking Ryan Zagone to make comment. And he's talking to him because, of course, he knows Ryan Zagone because Ripple's been working with the IMF for years.
Doesn't work.
Let me back up there.
Might still use proof of work.
Great. But invite Ryan and Desiree, I don't know if you would like to comment on this as well. Ryan, go ahead.
Proof of work doesn't work. Proof of work doesn't work.
Ryan, proof of work's been working.
Let me finish. Proof of work doesn't work.
Finish, please.
And in the early days of Bitcoin, there was a whole group of developers that broke off to create other assets, XRP being one of them, that doesn't use mining, that's cheaper from an energy perspective than Visa, and already scales to 1,500 transactions a second. A lot of these problems have already been solved. The challenge for adoption comes back to policy. The policy uncertainty around some of the assets has limited adoption, particularly here in the US. And I'm speaking from Ripple and XRP because we use that asset because it's a half a cent per payment. It's basically free. It scales and it's efficient. It's 1,500 transactions a second at nearly no energy burn. So we're at a point today where there are real solutions to all of these challenges that already exist. Policies become the challenge. And we heard on the first panel that around centralization on China, and this is going to be a hard pill for Peter to swallow. But 80% of the mining power for Bitcoin is controlled by 6 mining pools, 5 of which are in China. Today, the policy certainty in the US exists for Bitcoin and Ethereum, despite the fact those are China-controlled platforms. So activity goes to those platforms. What we need to do from a policy perspective in the US is look at the places where there are uncertainty. And one place I'm speaking directly for me here is XRP, where it looks like Bitcoin, it's decentralized, it's open source. We have 7% of the validation power on that, rather small in there. Grouping or giving clarity to those ones that are very similar to Bitcoin and Ethereum, that have the same characteristics and should be classified the same way. And then we're creating a level playing field across all the cryptos. I'm not anti-Bitcoin or anti-Ethereum by any means. I think there's a lot of great potential and breakthrough there. But we need to have a level playing field so the market can pick which ones they want to use and not be, as today they are, hindered by regulatory uncertainty.
Okay, so there's that. And then this is David Mills from the Federal Reserve Board, and what he's talking about here is another of the reasons that proof of work is open to 51% attacks. Listen to what he says.
Now, it's a question for everybody, especially Amy and David. Would the association of cryptocurrencies in permissionless blockchains limit in any way the use of permissionless blockchains in financial services? Would financial services be worried about the use of permissionless blockchains?
So one of the things that, again, from our research, we highlighted some of the key challenges or issues that you need to think about for the payment system. And a good governance structure is key. And I think anyone who kind of witnessed the DAO episode with Ethereum last summer, you can't create that kind of uncertainty in the U.S. payment system. I mean, you can't replace the existing architecture that has integrity and reliability and replace it with something that when something happens that you didn't anticipate or there was a mistake that was made, that you take months to figure out what to do. And it's just not going to be acceptable in the U.S. payment space. So I think, unless there's good governance structure put in place, then, you're not going to really make a lot of headway with an open permissionless system.
So, translation, he just told you that proof of work will not be involved in the U.S. payment system. Okay, then there was Sonny Liu. When I asked him, when I interviewed Sonny Liu, he's the guy that created VeChain, I addressed it with him as well. And basically I can't remember what I asked him, but I was basically wanting to find out from him what he thought of proof of work. Here you go.
Disadvantages about the POWs, like wasting the energy and also, the mining power or hashing power has been growing lately because just economic motivations, while you don't have to have that kind of the hashing power. So if we look at the root cause, why you need the consensus, which is actually to secure the network. So we wanted to find a balance, like we don't need that kind of, whatever the energy or the electricity or the machines to secure the network, but also, maintain the security of the entire network. So, and that's the case also, you got to take care about the cost, because eventually the people who are building application or using the blockchain every day got to take care about the cost. Honestly, if you're looking at right now, the Bitcoin fees, payment fees, it's pretty high. It's kind of like, deviated from the original design or original thinking of Bitcoin, the white paper in 2008. So anyway, we choose a unique consensus is called proof of authority, which can find a balance, not using too much energy, cost, but also, maintain the security of the network.
So Sonny Liu knows, because he avoided proof of work because he knows the problems it has. And then let's hear it from the man himself, David Schwartz. If I can get it to play. Let me do a refresh on that one.
Net result of using a distributed agreement protocol instead of proof of work is that the ledger is much, much faster. Ordering transactions takes a lot less time than mining does. Mining takes a long time because it is by necessity computationally difficult. In addition, the fees are much, much lower because you're not paying millions of dollars a day to miners to order transactions. That seems a little bit exorbitant to me. Transaction throughput is much higher, well in excess of 1,000 transactions per second, and the cost of the system is negligible. 32 million ledgers have closed without issue since the system began operation in 2013. And consensus is more deterministic than proof of work. By that I mean that its behavior is more predictable. So for example, block times are completely unpredictable. They average 10 minutes in Bitcoin, they average 2 minutes in Ethereum, but you notice that they can be 30 minutes without a block, they can be 2 blocks found at the same time. It's what we call a Poisson process. It's essentially a statistically random behavior. Consensus is more deterministic. And what that also means is there isn't sort of a dictator that chooses which transactions go in which block. The network as a whole chooses which transactions go in which block in a fair way, which is important for some applications like if you're going to have a decentralized exchange in Ethereum, the miner might order the transactions and might inject transactions to game the exchange for his benefit. And every 2 minutes you have a sort of new dictator running your exchange. I don't think a stock exchange would operate well that way. Consensus doesn't have that problem because it's a consensus of the network on which transactions go where. There isn't one person who gets to game each block to his own personal benefit. The net result is that transactions are fully confirmed in about 3 seconds. The cost is very, very, very much less than a penny, and transaction volumes in excess of 1,000 transactions per second can take place on ledger. We also have off-ledger scaling through payment channels, so you can, if you interact with the same parties frequently, you can interact off-ledger for a privacy and performance benefit. The net result is that compared to the other leading digital assets, we just have a much, much better user experience. If you think about it, other than competing on reach and other than competing on features that don't affect use cases like payments, what is it that matters? Is it secure? Is it reliable? Are the payments fast? Are they cheap? XRP wins on all of those metrics.
You're darn right. XRP wins on all of the metrics, and this story must be told and be kept out in front of people that are following this space. It's important that you don't let some narrative, just because prices are going up, continue to be spit out without telling everything. Can't just tell some because the price is going up, and I will not. A big bank crypto collaboration involving ING Bank, Citigroup, and UBS is raising money. You can count. We're seeing like article after article now. The big boys coming in. Also wanted to make you aware. This is from Zero Hedge. Silver squeeze hits London as silver warns of limited available silver. This story is going to get interesting. Now, this is a good tweet right here. I forgot to bring this up about that SEC letter the other day. One of the things that lawyer from, the attorney from Legal Brief, Jeremy Hogan, was it? He brought up, he was talking about how he thought it was a pretty weak argument from the SEC. They were basically saying that Ripple says that they're a currency and they're not, and all that kind of talk. Well, XRP put this out, this part from it. XRP labeled a currency by FinCEN in 2015. And I think this is from Ripple's letter. The SEC's only response is that Ripple has merely slapped a label currency on XRP and ignored the economic substance of XRP as an investment contract. That is flatly incorrect. First, it is not Ripple that labeled XRP as a currency. It was the Department of Justice and FinCEN that did so in 2015. And the evidence will show the government considered XRP to be a prominent example of a virtual currency even earlier. Second, the FinCEN interpretive letter that the SEC now points to in FN2 makes clear that FinCEN does not differentiate between real currencies and convertible virtual currencies. Third, this is not just a matter of labels. XRP2 LLC, Ripple's wholly owned subsidiary, has been registered and has been supervised as a money services business with FinCEN since 2015 and since 2016 by the New York Department of Financial Services as a virtual currency firm, precisely because XRP is a virtual currency. And that, my friends, is what I call blowing someone's argument out of the water. Okay, I mean, wow. I wanted to bring to your attention, the people at Link2 told me that they're going to add a bunch of Uphold. They're sold out right now. Uphold is for those that don't know, Uphold is the only exchange in the US that I'm aware of that still lets you buy XRP. And you can also, for those of you that don't know, you can also use your XRP if you're an accredited investor to buy into private equity on the Link2 platform. You can download the app and go to the website in the description of my videos in the sponsor section there. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, and tell your friends and family that proof of work does not work.